Anin, I'm really glad that you're here and that you have decided to start learning some of this language. I'm excited to have you watching these videos. I'm really grateful to all of my teachers who have helped me get this far. I am not fluent, but my language grows every day, and practice is really what helps. Um, One thing about Ojibwe is that it, unlike English, is a very reliable language. It sticks to its patterns and is consistent. English tends to have more exceptions than rules. So if you're a pattern person and you like consistency, then this language is probably going to jive pretty well with you. Um, so that being said, I hope you don't feel too intimidated. The sounds are actually pretty easy once you get used to the sound system. And it's all written phonetically, so you can look at it to sound it out, even though that makes the words look really long. Um, Over time, it'll become less intimidating, and I think what really makes Ojibwe more difficult is the fact that it is very different than English, and that tends to be how difficulty of languages are rated based on their similarity or difference to your first language. That and they don't translate across each other very well. So Ojibwe into English or English into Ojibwe, it really has to do with worldview. And um, one thing that I have found is that you really have to ask yourself, what am I trying to say? Because, I remember someone asking, well, how do I translate a greeting for an email such as, I hope this email finds you well? And I remember the answer to that was, well, how does an email find you? It's the idea that doesn't translate very well. So you have to ask, what am I actually trying to say? And what you're trying to say in that example is, I hope that when you receive this email, you are doing well. And so that's where you would translate. Um, that's a little beyond what we're doing here. Today, we're just going to be starting with some basic grammar, and I'm going to be working on helping you understand the frequent phrases that I'm going to be providing to you. That way, you can recognize the templates that the sentences follow and be able to, change what you want to say just by plugging in different words or time tenses. And over time, as you become familiar with that, it will become easier and easier, and you can start building your sentences into more complex thoughts. Um, Again, it does take time, a willingness to practice, and become familiar with the language. So I'm just really glad that you are here, and let's get started. In Ojibwe, there are 4 different verb types. There are VAI verbs, VII verbs, VTI verbs, and VTA verbs. We also have nouns, and things are divided into animate and inanimate. So right now, we're going to start with VAI verbs. Now this is, the V always stands for verb, and it is verb, and the A stands for animate, and then the I stands for intransitive. You don't have to memorize this. I personally find that it's easier. I can look at this designation by a verb in the dictionary, and it helps me know how to use that verb in a sentence. The other thing is that as you become familiar with them, you'll recognize that each verb type has a specific suffix that they usually end with that will tell you what kind of verb it is, but that takes time and just getting familiar with the language. So, sorry, my cat has decided to be yelling. So what this verb is saying is that it is an action. There is an animate being who is doing the action, but there is no transfer of action to any object or other person. So this differs from these two verb types. Sorry. This differs from these two verb types in that it simply describes the action that a being or uh, an animate being is doing. So for example, he or she is eating. Wisene. We don't know what he or she is eating. If you want to know the food that the person is eating, you would use a different verb, which seems confusing at first, but really it helps organize the language beautifully. So in this case, our word would be wisene, and that means she or he is presently eating. So that's one thing to remember about our VAI verbs. We don't know what they're eating, but there is a being that is doing it, and that being is already built into the word. So the third person, ween equals, ween is the word for the pronoun she or he, and it's already built into this verb. So if you're talking about someone else doing it, he is eating, you don't have to attach a person to the verb at all. They're already in it. This verb also takes place presently in the right now. So what's cool is wisene is an entire sentence all by itself. You don't have to do anything to it. It is a complete sentence. So I hope that helps. Now we're going to look at something else real quick. We're going to look at our pronouns. Our pronouns are the persons that are doing the action, or the persons that are involved. So we have ween was she or he. It doesn't matter. Context will tell you if it's a male, female. Really, it's not important in Ojibwe. And then we have, I'm just going to talk about our singular pronouns for the most part in this lesson. We have geen, which is singular you. In English, you know that you can mean singular you or all of you, but in Ojibwe, we have a different word for all of you. And then we have mean, which is I or me. Now, usually we don't use this whole word in sentences because Ojibwe likes to take pieces of words and glue them to other words to make a complete word or thought. So rather than saying nin wisene, I am eating, you would actually attach just ni wisin to it. So if we look at any VAI verb, ween is already included, so we don't have to do anything to the verb. All right. The template that you would use for these words is person plus action. That makes your whole sentence. So let's start with the word bimose. Bimose. That means he or she is walking. But if you want to say you are walking, you need part of that pronoun geen attached to the beginning. That's where a person goes. So this is our action, and we add ge to the front. That makes it ge bimose. Ge bimose. And you see how the ge became part of that word? It's not two separate words. It actually attaches and makes it a new word on its own. So you are walking could also be understood as you walk. All right. So our VAI verbs tend to end in certain suffixes that will help you recognize what kind of verb they are. So I'm going to erase this and we'll go over that because we have ways that the pronouns attach to each other. This is in one of those lessons on GIM, or I'm sorry, on 7,000 languages. So when talking about gene, if the verb starts with a consonant, ge is how you will attach you to the front. Ge before consonants. And then gid before vowels. Now, if the verb starts with an O, then we add this in front of it. Such as the word Ojibwemo. He or she is speaking Ojibwe. When you add you are speaking in Ojibwe, when you add gid, gin in front of it, you have to add gid and then O, and that lengthens the sound, gidu, Ojibwe. So if you noticed, when I said this word, I said gidu Ojibwe, I dropped that short vowel off the end. Whenever you're talking about me or you drop the short vowel. So such as wisene, he or she is eating, ge wisen, you are eating, or ne wisen, I am eating. It seems like a lot, but you'll get the hang of it. It'll start to feel very natural. So that's let's see. Short vowels. Our short vowels are single I, single O, and single A. These are the sounds that will fall off the end of the VAI verb when you add I or me or you to the verb. Long vowels are double vowels. You've probably seen, such as double I, double O, double A, and the letter E. Those ones stay, they don't fall off. So nim bimo se, I'm walking, bimo se, he or she is walking, give bimo se, you are walking. So let's try using gin. We have before, let's use the verb, the action word, bungishin. He or she falls or is falling. If you want to say you are falling, we need to add a person to the front. It needs to be some part of gin. And because it starts with a B, that's a consonant, we only have to add git. So we'll add git, bungishin. Bungishin. And that's our template. That's the person plus the action. All right. Let's try. Let's try wisene. He or she is eating. So how about you pause the video and try and write it out yourself? I would like you to try and say, you are eating. So use what you have up here think about what the word starts with. It starts with a consonant. It ends with a short vowel right here. They fall off when we add you or me to the word. So try and write you are eating. All right, what did you get? If you added get, that is correct. And if you remember to take that short I off the end, then you're golden. Gewesen. Gewesen means you are eating or you eat. Excellent. All right. So let's try. We already went over a verb that starts with O. This one's pretty simple, but we're gonna go over how to add nin or me to the verb. And this is a little bit harder. Well, not harder, it's just there's some more. And at first when I was learning this, I was so overwhelmed because where I came from, my first teachers had a different dialect. They're from Wikwemikong, and what I noticed, though I'm not sure if this is consistent across the board, was that they always just added nit in front of anything. They didn't have, or they added git. They didn't really seem to add the other sounds. You know, that was my personal experience. That might not be true across the board, but really what I'm saying is if you forget, you know, some of these rules, as long as you get that nit or git sound on the front, you're going to be understood. So for nin, me, or I, we have just we add nit to the front of words that start with W, N, and M. Nin before words that start with D, G, J, Z, and CH. We have nim before any word that starts with a B, like nimbimose or nimbukade. You hear that sound in there. We have, let's see, nind before vowels. And just like in gin, we have nindo before words that start with the letter O. So let's try Ojibwe-mo again. So Ojibwe-mo, he or she speaks Ojibwe, or is speaking Ojibwe. If you want to add me, I am speaking Ojibwe, or I speak Ojibwe, then, sorry, Calcifer, please stop meowing. You have to add nindo. When you add nindo, that lengthens the sound, so it becomes nindu jibwem, and our short vowel falls off because we're talking about me. Nindu jibwem. I am speaking Ojibwe. Now, when I first saw all of this, I was so overwhelmed. I was like, how am I ever going to remember that? What I find really fascinating right now is that I do this naturally, and I actually had to look up, wait, hang on, which prefixes go before which sounds, you know, but if I'm talking or if I'm translating, I just naturally know which sound to use. So it becomes familiar with practice, and that is such a fascinating thing for me. I'm just like, how do I know how to do this? But I have to look it up when I'm trying to like write it out as the rules, you know? Um, so I hope that encourages you. Um, let's try. So let's try a different verb. But real quick, other than like the short vowel endings versus the long vowel endings in these verbs, you don't really have to worry about the suffixes until we start talking about plural people. So like you all, us, or them. And we'll get to that in a different lesson. All right, running short on time, so let's try and get through this pretty quick. Let's go with Weesenit again. That is, do you remember what Weesenit is? Weesenit, just by itself, he or she is eating, because he or she, ween is already built into the word. Now I want to say I am eating. What I need to do, let's look at our word. What does it end with? A short vowel. That vowel is going to fall off. What does it start with? It starts with a W. So all we need to do is add ne. Ne. We sin, because our short vowel fell off. It's gone. Ne we sin. I am eating. Or I eat. Excellent. All right. Let's try Bimose. What does Bimose mean again? Bimose means he or she is walking. Mean is already in it. He or she is built in. It's happening right now in the present tense, so we don't have to do anything to it. It's already its own sentence. But we want to say I am walking. In that case, we're going to add, well, let's look at the end. Does it end with a short vowel or a long vowel? A. That is a long vowel. That sound E makes an E sound, bimose. And let's see, it starts with a B, so that means we need nim in front of it. I'm just gonna attach nim directly to the word. Nim bimose. I walk, or I am walking. You can add a location to this, so like nim bimose dawe wegamego. I am walking to the store. You can add a locative onto these words. It's not like the location is receiving the action, you're just doing the action. That took me a little while to grasp, but I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, let's try. Let's see, we already did Ojibwe. Let's try Minwandum. Anyone know what Minwandum means? Minwandum. He or she is happy. We want to say I am happy. What's it start with? It starts with M. All we need to add is ne. It ends with an M, so we don't have to do anything to the end. Niminwandum. Ni min wandum. I am happy. Oh, anin. Anin is yayin. Oh, niminwandum. I am happy. All right, let's try. That's why, the short vowel that falls off the end. You are probably familiar with the command namada bin, sit down. So I'm gonna tell you something about that real quick. The word or the verb namada bin. Let's add that namada bin. That makes it a command to one person. It's like saying, sit down, you. The verb itself, the root word as we call it, is actually just namadabit. He or she is sitting. So it ends with a short I. If we want to say I am sitting, starts with an N. There we go. We just add ni, namadabe, and then it ends with a short vowel. We drop that off. I am sitting, ninamada. So in that root word, namadabe, we have this word part called a morpheme, a bit, and a bit is also a word. Let's see, a bit means he or she sits at home, or he or she is at home. I believe it has another meaning. I'd have to look that up. A bit. So if we wanted to say, so like, let's see, she or he is at home. If I wanted to say I am at home, we got to look at what it starts with. It starts with a vowel. That means we use nind in front of it. Nind. And it ends with a short vowel, and that means that falls off. So now we have nindub. Nindub. And that makes it I am at home. All right. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. The next one, we're going to look at how to turn these into questions, and then we're going to look at how to negate them. That means like I am not at home. I hope you had a great time, and practice these if you can. So what you can do is you're gonna go to the Ojibwe dictionary or to the lessons, but I would encourage you to go to the Ojibwe dictionary. Let's see here, I'm gonna share my screen. Well, first I need to find the Ojibwe dictionary. I'm gonna share. Here is the Ojibwe dictionary. You can browse the dictionary. Let's browse it in Ojibwe. And you see here, it has these. There's a VAI. Oh, he or she gets blisters. See how he or she is built into the word. And then it's happening currently in the present tense. And our verb type is right there, animate intransitive verb. If you want, you can go to the dictionary and browse it and then find some VAI verbs, such as abaso, she warms up in the sun, and then practice what we just did. So find a verb, and then follow this template here. Person plus verb. And then remember what to do. Does the suffix stay or does it fall off? That's really all you need to do. And if you can, practice that with both neen and geen, that would be fantastic. I would just write out sentences to practice, and then I'd practice saying them out loud to get my pronunciation up. Don't be afraid of getting it wrong, and if you have questions, you can take a picture of what you've written and email it to me, and I can help you. So, miigwe chapache. I will see you next time.